Tonight, we're diving into the dark mirror held up by American Psycho, where the gleam of designer watches only hides the gleam of something far more chilling. Meet Patrick Bateman, a Wall Street shark by day and a nightmare by night. A world of access, vanity, and violence pulses under the neon glow of 1980s Manhattan. We'll walk the halls of his psyche, trace the clean razor lines through the glossy facade, and ask, is the monster society made, or the one we refuse to see? Stick around, it's only going to get more and more unnervingly familiar.
It's up to the facts. I'm tense and nervous and I can't relax. I can't sleep cause my bed's on fire. Don't touch me, I'm a real live wire. Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Welcome everybody to Dead Air. I am your host, Siena Anzaldua, your local horror expert, except for Sharon Jenkins, of course, which we learned last week. Tonight, yes, we are talking about 2000's American Psycho. You guys are not ready for this one. I wasn't ready for this one when I first saw it. It's a trip, so I hope you guys are ready. And as always, what are we going to do first? We're going to do a horror movie summary. We are in late 1980s Manhattan. We've got wealth, Wall Street, and just all the pretty peoples. All the pretty peoples. Patrick Bateman is a young, successful investment banker who's obsessed with status, appearance, and of course, control.
In a balanced diet and a rigorous exercise routine. In the morning, if my face is a little puffy, I'll put on an ice pack while doing my stomach crunches. I can do 1,000 now. After I remove the ice pack, I use a deep pore cleanser lotion. In the shower, I use a water-active...
We learn that Bateman lives a meticulously curated life. He wears designer suits, he has expensive dinners, and behind the polished exterior, we can feel that something there, something behind it, is something darker.
Okay, all right.
I'm fairly certain that Timothy, Bryce, and Evelyn are having an affair. Timothy is the only interesting person I know. I'm almost completely indifferent as to whether Evelyn knows I'm having an affair with Courtney Rawlinson, her closest friend. Courtney is almost perfect looking. She's usually operating on one or more psychiatric drugs. Tonight, I believe it's Xanax. More disturbing than her...
So then, his coworkers are nearly identical clones. Everyone's the same. They're shallow, materialistic, and painfully self-absorbed. Bateman's frustration with their world and himself starts to boil over, and you can see this throughout the movie.
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
Now listen, I have a lunch meeting at Hubert's in 20 minutes with Ronald Harrison, and I need those sheets clean by this afternoon. Listen, I cannot understand you! This is crazy! You're a fool! I can't cope with the stupid bitchy! Understand?
Patrick? Hi, Patrick. I thought that was you.
Hello, this is...
Isn't it ridiculous?
His darker urges begin taking form. We have violence, delusion, and moments where the line between fantasy and reality is being blurred. So then we see that he starts murdering people and the murders are escalating. Or do they? We don't really know. So Bateman spirals into paranoia, leaving voicemails that confesses his crimes, and no one really seems to believe him.
Howard, it's Bateman, Patrick Bateman. You're my lawyer, so I think you should know I've killed a lot of people. Some escort girls in an apartment uptown.
Harold, did you get my message?
Jesus, yes, that was hilarious. That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So then we get the ending where the world sort of resets, like as though nothing happened. There's no consequences, there's no proof, there's no closure. And there's just this line that ends the movie, and it says, "This confession has meant nothing."
I want no one to escape. But even after admitting this, there is no catharsis. My punishment continues to elude me, and I gain no deeper knowledge of myself. No new knowledge can be extracted from my telling. This confession has meant nothing.
Wow!
What a way to freaking end the movie. Okay, this...
I need a minute to think about this.
Before I get carried away, let's get into... Siena's thoughts. We've got Siena's thoughts. You're gonna hear these thoughts. They're Siena's thoughts. Siena's thoughts. Siena's thoughts. Okay, so this movie tripped me the hell out. Okay, at first, how old was I when I saw this movie? 14, 15 years old, I think. This movie is such a trip because this is one of the first ones that really plays with, is it real? Is it fake? Did this actually happen? So it's just really interesting to see this dynamic play out through a horror movie and sort of just end unresolved. You never really know if he actually did these things. You don't know if it was all in his head. And that's what makes this movie a classic and something that sets up other horror movies in the future, such as Shrooms, such as just other movies that really play into this dynamic. And I think Patrick Bateman, Christian Bale does such a great job of blurring those lines and saying like, okay, I'm really feeling this, and what is the audience seeing as well. So I think that's part of my thoughts. I think another part of my thoughts is that this really tackles the consumerism and how people identify themselves in the corporate machine in the 80s. And this is really interesting because we get to that iconic business card scene where they're all comparing their business cards.
Is that a gram?
New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this.
That is really nice.
Eggshell with Romalian type. What do you think?
And that is hilarious. It does really well with blurring the lines of, is this funny, is this horrifying, and it meshes both of them together to create this movie, because you just see like 7 or 8 dudes in like these really nice suits just comparing their business cards, and then you hear Patrick Bateman's like internal monologue of like, oh my god, he used this font with this paper, that's ridiculous, how could he do that? And then there's another business card that comes out and he goes, oh my god, who knew he had this style, what the heck? Like it's just so funny to me.
Let's see Paul Allen's card. Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my god. It even has a watermark.
And it's funny, but also really ridiculous to think about at this time. And it's just what makes this movie great. So then we also get the mask of like, what does masculinity mean and what does perfection mean in this movie and during the time. Again, this is supposed to be 1980s. And it's just like, you get this very different view on what masculinity should be and what other people are thinking it should be. Because Christian Bale, Patrick Bateman, he shows like the meticulousness he puts into his physique, into how he looks every day. He goes through his skincare routine, which is much more in depth than mine. Okay, that's a little ridiculous, but it's just it changes the definition of what masculinity is during this era. So again, I think that's also like a very interesting and important way to view this movie. And I think it's one of the reasons I love it so much is because it takes a lot of these different definitions of what we think something should be, some sort of stereotype, and sort of puts it on his head. So I love that aspect of this movie, and I think it really changes the game when we talk about horror. So then, okay, this is, to me, the best part of this movie. And again, I've talked about it before, I kind of went into this, but we get this reality versus delusion timeline where we don't really know what that means, and this movie does such a good job of blurring that lines because you can't tell the switch from reality to delusion in Patrick Bateman's mind.
Really need to if you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
Now listen, I have a lunch meeting at Hubert's in 20 minutes with Ronald Harrison, and I need those sheets cleaned by this afternoon. Listen, I cannot understand you! This is crazy! You're a fool! I can't cope with the stupid bitchy! Understand?
Patrick? Hi, Patrick. I thought that was you.
Hello. This is...
Isn't it ridiculous?
I think it's so important in the execution of this for Christian Bale as an actor, and I think that's truly what makes this such a great movie, is because there is no defining line between, okay, what is delusion, what is reality, and how is that changed as we go further and further into it. And I love that aspect of this movie. I love the fact that we can't tell and those lines are so blurred. And I also hate it because I'm someone who really likes a defined ending. And I like it and I don't like that as well, because I do love the fact that we don't know what truly happens at the end of this movie. We never know, is this real? Is this fake? And that's just what makes such a good horror movie sometimes, is when you're left with not knowing exactly what happened and not knowing whether it was real, whether it was fake, and what to expect next. Because unfortunately there is a part 2 to this movie. Don't watch it. Bad. It's a bad sequel. Bad sequel, so don't watch it. But I think it leaves it very ambiguous for, what could be next? What is Patrick Bateman going to end up doing next? And again, it just makes it so good. It just makes it a classic. A classic. Next, we're gonna go over, it's the best part. It's truly the best part of this show, and you guys, I know you guys love it, and it's just a little ridiculous. We are at Siena's Fun Facts. They're fun and they're facts, and you learn a little something. Siena's Fun Facts. Yes, I'm sorry I hit you with the finger guns. I apologize, but fun fact number 1. The film actually took 8 years to reach the screen after the novel's release. So yes, it is important to note that this movie was a book.
Any scene we were doing every single day, I had the book by my side and I would read through it every single time because Brett had just had so many wonderful descriptions.
It's a book, and I have yet to read it because I'm a little scared. But I am gonna read it. I have the physical copy, and I'm very excited because since starting this show, I'm getting a lot of different book recommendations, and I gotta say, I'm very excited. Next, during production, Willem Dafoe filmed each scene 3 different ways so the audience would wonder whether his character knew about Bateman's crimes. So again, this just emphasizes the care and the pride it took to go through this movie and do it correctly. And the fact that Willem Dafoe did each scene 3 times so that you could have an extensive look at, okay, is you could just have that doubt whether Patrick Bateman actually did these crimes or whether they were all in his head. I think that's perfect. I think that is amazing, and I think that was one of the reasons that made this movie so good, is the care and the effort that the actors took in just trying to make this a wonderful movie. With the film's ending, many viewers had interpreted it as none of it really happened. But the director asserts that it did happen, but the ambiguity is really what should be the focus, not on whether he did it or he didn't do it. So I like that. I agree. I think that the ambiguity is really what sells this horror movie and what makes it a great movie. For our last fun fact, many of these style-obsessed brands were weirded out, so like the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton and all that kind of stuff. They were weirded out, so some clothing labels allowed their designer gear in the movie, but not on screen while Bateman was committing murder. Which honestly, I kind of think that's like a fault on their part, because what is more iconic than seeing like a Gucci suit or whatever and Patrick Bateman's killing someone? Like, I get maybe that's not the best like PR, but also it kind of is, because again, what's more iconic than that? What is more iconic than that? Nothing. There ain't nothing that is more iconic than Patrick Bateman shedding some blood and wearing Gucci or Prada or Louis Vuitton. You can tell that I'm really into like the designer brands. I'm very bougie. I'm not. Haha. So I really like this movie. It goes a little under the radar for me, and I would not include this in my Siena's Comfort movies. Sorry. But I do think that this is such a great movie, and it's really worth a watch for you guys. Now we are on to Siena's book recommendations.
Siena's book recommendations.
So first book I want to tell you to read is obviously read American Psycho. I'm excited to read it. It's on my TBR list, as my ever-growing TBR list. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's a problem, guys. It's never going to get smaller. It's the life of a reader. What can I say? So yes, we have American Psycho, same plot as the movie. And then for our second book, so then we have Less Than Zero by Bret Easton Ellis, who is the same author of American Psycho. This is not connected at all to American Psycho or Patrick Bateman or anything, but it follows the same theme that this author tends to hit on, which is moral decay. This one specifically focuses on LA in the 80s. So it's sort of the same vibe, but not the same storyline. And then we have Filth by Irvin Welsh. So it's dark, it's twisted, it's raw, where we get a protagonist who's leading a double life, societal masks that peel away and show moral ugly truths. Sounds like Psycho to me. Sounds exactly like Psycho, but maybe it's not. Let's see. You'll have to read and find out. So then we have House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. So this one is about doubt, obsession, and the instability of what we think is real. This is similar to the ambiguity with American Psycho. So I love that ambiguity, and I'm excited. This is probably at the top of my TBR list. I've been wanting to read this for months, but it is expensive at Barnes & Noble. So we'll have to wait for that until it goes on sale. But yes, it is I'm so excited to read that book. It's, again, like I said, it's on my TBR list, so I have to keep you guys updated. So now we have Scarometer, that meters as you get scared. Scarometer, that meters as you get scared. Yes, we have Scarometer, another great segment on this show. Woo woo! So I would rate this movie an 8 out of 10. I would say this is a solid 8 out of 10. It's not something that I like to rewatch, which is why it's a little bit lower than the recent movies, but I think it's still a great movie, and I think it is a must-watch to really understand a different subgenre of horror. And that is the psychological aspect, the ambiguity of the story, the sort of the blurriness of lines between reality and delusion, which is a decent chunk of horror movies. So I think that part is incredibly important to understanding the horror genre. And I hope you guys truly watch this. I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys to watch this. We've peeled back the flawless face of the monster in American Psycho, but don't pack up your razor-sharp suits just yet. Because next up, we're diving into a summer camp where the cabins creak, the night air whispers secrets, and what's lurking in the shadows may be far stranger than any Wall Street kill shack. In the woods, the quiet isn't safe, and the game of who's safe just got much darker. Our next watch is Sleepaway Camp. Now remember, folks, don't split up and don't go into the basement. Bye. The ambiguity, the ambiguity.
I'm a real live wire, psycho killer.